Going on, everybody? Just waiting for some people to join, and then we're gonna start talking. Success Show Journey. Thank you for showing love. I'm looking forward to doing your show next week. We're gonna talk. All right, Nova, you gonna join? I appreciate everybody for joining, showing love. Shout out to the Miles Group. Shout out to Shout Fitness. Actually, Shout Town. We got a video with them coming up soon. Shout out to Mix Tats. This is where we at right now. You can check out his work. Follow Mix Tats. You could go on his page and check out some of the work I'm getting done. We actually was supposed to do this interview yesterday. I was a little bit under the weather, but we made it happen. So this is life of a CEO, life of an entrepreneur. I got a double book, so I'm not going to miss an interview because I'm always going to keep my appointments. And I'm not going to miss a tattoo appointment because Miggs is always booked. So I'm just waiting for Nova Cash to give me a call. We're going to start our interview, and then you can check it out on her podcast. Y'all have any questions, let me know. And I appreciate everybody for stopping by. All right, we're about to talk about just an intro. This is my first time interviewing with Nova, and she has some general questions. She actually invested today. If you go on the live, you can see she sent some money on Cash App. It's that easy to start investing, and we're going to do some more work. So here we go.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl Nova, and this is Freedom Fridays on the Ultimate Weekend Starter for Rebel Radio Connects. And first and foremost, I just want to say thank you so much for doing this interview with me. You actually are the first person I'm interviewing on this show for the season, so I'm really pumped up for it. And you guys, if you want to call him the Math Wizard, the financial god, whatever you want to call him, he's all of those things, but he's better known as MATHMANH. And I just want to welcome you to this show. Thank you so much for being here. It's a lot that we got to cover today, and like I told y'all, it's gonna be such an informational show. Y'all better take a notepad and a pen, and start writing some notes because it's really gonna be a dope show. So how you doing today?
I'm doing well. A little under the weather, but no complaints. I'm happy to.
I know I was under the weather for the entire week, but I pushed through. I'm so excited. I was feeling really, really, I don't know. I was just really down and sick yesterday like a dog, but we're here. It's crazy how we were both sick, but we still here. We pushed through. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you want to know how we end up getting like this partnership, how we met. And it's a funny story. Long story short, I was on this website for like DJs and stuff, and I was just like playing around, and I didn't realize they had like a TV segment, and I saw a podcast, and he was on there, and I ended up trying to be nosy, and I went on YouTube to look up the podcast, not realizing that it was your YouTube channel. And I don't know, like, I guess it was just you just came across very authentic and genuine, and I guess that is what mesmerized me to like want to know more, or just made me curious to want to know more and to get to know who you were and what you were about. And I followed you on Instagram. I actually thought you were located out in Texas because I think it says on your Instagram page like your retail stuff is in Texas or something. So I'm like, okay, he's like a few hours behind. I could call him. It was like 8 o'clock, but I thought that it was like 6 o'clock in Texas. I thought you were out in Texas, not realizing that it was your personal number. I'm like, oh, I'm calling the office. And from there, we just hit it off. We started talking. He explained, exactly what he does, and he broke down everything for me. And then from there, we just decided to start this journey and show you guys that it literally just starts with you investing and believing in yourself and really making a move. So I'm really excited for this movement and what we're about to do. And yeah, so let's start it off with exactly what do you do, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people want to know, what do you do, who are you, so let's tell the viewers exactly what you do.
All right, thank you. Right now, my company helps people invest. We give information to people just like yourself who feel they might be intimidated by purchasing a property or learning about how to invest in property. We also do property management. So you're correct. The address that was on the Instagram is one of our locations that is out in Texas. I personally am all over. I go to New York. I'm in Philadelphia. I'm in Texas. We just came back from Puerto Rico. We have things in Florida. We're looking into all kind of different opportunities always. And basically what the company does is it helps people get more education. Financial literacy is something that I feel is super important, and I don't feel like enough people have enough of a background base to make informed decisions. Is it the reception here? All right, we back.
You on the Wi-Fi? What's up?
I'm not sure, but we're back, so I'm waiting for a couple people to join back on. Nova, give me a call back again. We'll make it work. All right, we look good over there.
That happened just now. Oh, I'm back. Oh, I can see myself now.
You're good. So for anybody who's watching this or who's gonna watch this will be up on YouTube, and we do everything authentic. It's uncensored. So if the Wi-Fi goes out or whatever it is, that's what it is. Like, but basically, my goal here is to help people learn how to invest and become financially independent.
Okay, and so I know when I try to explain to people exactly what you do, because if someone finds out about something, they're gonna want to share with other people that they know, and a lot of people were mistaking it for, I guess I wasn't explaining it properly, but a lot of people were mistaking it for whether flipping houses or wholesaling. So can you just explain what you do versus wholesaling and flipping, or what is the difference between what you do versus wholesaling houses and flipping houses?
Okay, I'm not sure if it got cut off when the live dropped, but I do whatever it takes to keep my clients happy. So I am involved in a few flips right now. We've done flips in Philadelphia. We're currently doing flips in Philadelphia, and I've done flips in Texas, and we're currently working on some clients' properties out there. Mm-hmm. Wholesaling is something different. That's not something I really do. Wholesaling would be something like, I get a property for $20,000, I broker a deal, and I sell it to you for $40 or $50, and I hold a note for you. We do hold notes, and if I'm using terms that people are not ready for, then you want to go ahead and follow the page, or you can take those terms and Google them.
Right.
Holding a note. What is a note? And wholesale, retail, real estate.
So where do you just tell people to or would you suggest people who are really babies in this real estate game to, who wouldn't know what holding a note means and what these terms mean, to just Google it? Or do you have a special place where they can probably go and look to learn more information? Do your website have a glossary for all of these, terminologies?
No, my website would not have that, because there's so much information and everybody has something different that they're looking for. Mm-hmm. What I would say is, if somebody's really interested in investing money, I know you and I spoke, let's say, about a tax return. Right. If you have a few dollars and it's something that usually just kind of slips through your hands and you're not sure what you want to do with it, we would have a conversation, whether it's myself or somebody that works on my team. We'd have a conversation and we talk about your goals, we talk about your budget, and we talk about what your comfort level is. There are some people, if let's say you had $20,000, who would feel very comfortable risking $20,000 and trying to undertake a flip. Right. There are some people who have $20,000 who would not feel comfortable with that, and they might want to start with a micro loan where they invest $2,000 and make a fixed guaranteed return. That's something that my company does, and those things are on our website, and the website's hahomesus.com if you'd like to see that. Or you can join us on Instagram. If you're watching this, you can find us on Instagram, or if you're watching this on YouTube, our links are always on our videos, and everything is on Instagram and vice versa, and our website.
Right. Okay. And like you said, a lot of the things that you do are really uncensored and is up on YouTube and Instagram. And one of the things that I noticed that you do is, especially with this Puerto Rico move that you were doing, you took everybody on the journey with you, and you showed, you sitting down with certain people, making deals, signing contracts and stuff. And I know to the average person, especially colored people with, a little melon in them, and they will feel a little intimidated sitting with, I guess, I'm gonna just say it, with a Jew, because a lot of people think that, or I should say is a stigma that the Jews are buying up everything and literally we own nothing. So how is it, or can you explain, how do you feel sitting in a room with a Jewish person, being, a person of color? Do you get intimidated? How do you deal with that intimidation? How do you deal with the level of respect? Because, sometimes they might feel like they could talk down to you, or that's, the perception that a normal person would feel. So how would you handle that situation, and what advice would you give to people handling that situation?
In my experience, businessmen and women are businessmen and women. Everybody in the room at a closing or in a conversation is there to try to make money and to try to get the best deal that they can. I really don't feel intimidation by entering deals. Early on, when I first started in real estate, I felt a little bit of intimidation or a little bit of excitement, because it was my first time doing something. The first time I bought a building, the first time I did a certain amount of money deal. Mm-hmm. But I never feel like it felt any intimidation because of who I was shaking hands with at a table. I feel like basically that's something that is a misconception that people have because they haven't been there. That if you look at the story I put up the other day, a lot of times people feel like a closing is like a really glorious thing, but for most people it's just another day in the office. Mm-hmm. When you buy your first home, yeah, you'll be excited, but you're not gonna wear a tux. I mean, I didn't wear a tux to my first thing, so no, there's no intimidation. And I feel like no matter what color, creed, race, age, whatever it is that you are, people are just looking to make money and provide for their families. I feel like that's the experience I have across the board.
Mm-hmm. And another stigma that a lot of people have is they feel that you have to get a real estate license in order to be involved in this industry. Is that true? Like, or to an extent, or...
No, absolutely not. I feel like, based on my experience, and I believe I could validate this with statistics, the majority of owners aren't multi-million moguls. It's not like that. Especially with the people I work with. The majority of owners that are landlords are working class people, maybe a little well-to-do, but they own a piece of property. Maybe they own 5 or 10 pieces of property. It's not Warren Buffett. Like Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, these guys don't own all the property and they're not giving anything out to the little guy. People grow organically, like a Grant Cardone, that type of thing. You can make money if you're smart, if you take a little bit of a risk and you're consistent. Mm-hmm. So, I don't feel like, the Jews own all the property. I feel like that's a very New York statement. I know you're from, I work in the South, and there's not many Jewish people I've seen in Texas. Mm. So I think it's regional, and I think that's a stigma. I think if you put in your money and you do your research, or you get help, or you come to somebody like me, you will get guidance and you'll make an informed decision, and you won't get hurt in the process.
I think that what you said was so true. I never even thought about that. That's a New York statement, because when you go down south, a lot of the real estate agents are black. So I guess it really do depend on the region. But I guess that's another thing that people probably wouldn't know how to do is that, or know that they can do, is do real estate outside of their state or where they live. So it's pretty good that you're there and your company is there for people to realize or to understand that with someone like you to help them reach those targets, those markets that they don't think that are accessible to them. So shout out to you for that one. But I know another question that some people may have is, or, what is the difference between a property manager or management and a owner or a landlord? Are they the same thing, or are they different? Do they go hand in hand? Can you do both?
Sure. I own real estate, but I also have a company that does property management. When I first got out into Texas, I started off starting out in Puerto Rico. Actually, Puerto Rico is a little bit different because I already have a base of clients and that sort of thing. So when we're investing in Puerto Rico, we'll be investing in several properties, varied levels. I'll be investing my own money out there as well. But when I first got out into Texas, it was a risk. So I bought a couple of pieces, very small pieces, condos, and I used property managers. So I didn't know the rules, I didn't know the laws, I didn't know what was going on. So I started that way. But when I ended up with several pieces and I started bringing clients out there, I had to open an office because we had so many tenants that we needed to do our own property management. We didn't feel like we wanted to let go of that money. A property manager is just basically somebody who puts eyes on your property. They take care of your day-to-day maintenance, getting your tenants, that sort of thing. It's like a super, but it's a company that does it. It's not somebody who stays exclusively in one building. So yeah, I do property and I own, and and some other things I invest in where my name might not be on the deed, but it was a good deal for me to get in. So I felt like investing my money into a certain situation made better sense than not being able to be involved with a deal.
Right.
And I just want to go back to one thing you said before about going into other states. A lot of people look at property in New York like it's something great to have, and it is, and it depends on your temperament. But for a new investor who's buying New York at these retail prices right now, their return on investment isn't very much because you have to lay out so much money in order to get back, a $2,500 rent. Whereas in a place like Texas or in a place like Philadelphia, you could put in a fraction of that money. We're talking a few $1,000s and own a whole property and get 10 times the rate of return for a tenth of the money, which mathematically is like 100 times more money if you looked at it like that. So you don't have to have 100,000 to get in the game because you're talking about New York. You can have 5,000 and get into anywhere America and start to grow your wealth, and then maybe buy New York if that's what you wish.
And I was going to touch on that too, because I know a lot of people are probably still thinking, well, how is this going to work for me? I don't have, $100,000. I don't have $30,000. So how can someone who, is starting up, especially with tax season around, how can someone get involved in your company and start investing today if they wanted to?
Well, they would do something very similar to what we talked about, and we would figure out what was comfortable for your budget, and you would send a payment via a wire, a Cash App, a Venmo, PayPal, whatever it is. You send over the money, we sign a contract, we agree to terms. Our minimum term is 3 years because it doesn't really make sense for us to do a micro loan for any duration of time less than that. A lot of people who do micro loans with us end up doing what we call a variable loan, where let's say you start out with $1,000, which is the minimum you could make, and then every year they might put in another few thousand, or monthly they'll put in a certain amount, and before you know it, they have $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $10,000, and we're like, okay, you're at $8,500. You're on pace to hit $10,000. Just to use round numbers, let's say in 3 months. Let's start looking for a property now. And then we take them through the corporation forming process, the LLC process. Shout out to Adam Kalish. He's our lawyer. He helps us with that process. And then we scout properties, and I use the realtors that I always use and we work with, and we get people properties. And then we also have certain deals where you can't get them on a multiple listing or MLS. You can Google that term, MLS, multiple listing. It's like a Zillow, Realtor.com. We have things that don't ever make it to that market, and we get them for better prices because of the network of people we have. We get wholesale deals. So we help people get in the game. And we help people get loans. There's all kind of banks out there, all type of loans that are specific to individual needs. So it's not what everybody tells you. You need a certain credit score. You need a certain amount of money. You need a certain amount of... No, it's a matter of not even loopholes. Just knowing the game and knowing what the state laws are. And a lot more people could own real estate if they just had a little bit more information. And that's what we're here to provide.
Right. Okay. Real quick, I see someone in the live. It's actually Quest, and he's asking, is it a good time to buy a house now? And before you answer that, going along with that to wrap things up, I just want to stress the difference between an asset and a liability, because a lot of people get the two mistaken, thinking that buying a house is an asset, but in reality it's a liability. So can you explain how buying a house can become an asset rather than a liability? And is it a good time to buy a house now? Answering his question.
I think everybody has a different point of view, a different perspective. And basically, if we're talking about like a rich dad, poor dad, like a Robert Kiyosaki, he would define asset as anything that makes money and a liability as anything that costs money. Mm-hmm. So if you purchased a home that you lived in, you'd have a mortgage, property tax, insurance, lights, water, heat, gas, maintenance, grass, whatever it was. So that costs you money. It costs you money to live there. And you have to invest a significant amount of money, unless you got like an FHA loan, which is 3.5% down. But still, you're talking, several $1,000s. Whereas if you bought a house that was an investment and you use the same capital to start up, somebody will be paying you a rent and you'd be making money. So it really depends. And if you're talking about somebody in New York, let's take a condo, a 2-bedroom condo in Brooklyn is about $500,000. If you're buying it for personal use, that's $50,000 down because you have to put down 10%. You got closing costs, which is about $5,000 on every $100,000. That's another $25,000. You got to have capital reserves in case something goes wrong. So to talk about a 2-bedroom condo, a shoebox in Brooklyn, you'd have to have $90,000 to even talk to a bank, plus be able to get approved for the loan. With $90,000, do you know how many properties you could own across America? How much money you'd make? Where if you waited just another year or two, you could buy $1 million property because you're making an extra $5,000 or $10,000 a month in rent. Mm-hmm. So this is what I try to show people. Owning a house is cool, but I own a couple of homes and I hate it. Because things break. You have a $20,000 bill, you have a bad storm, you got to redo your roof. I always got to cut grass. I'd rather pay rent somewhere. And this is just me. Mm-hmm. And I'm not the only one who says it. Gary Vee says it. A bunch of other guys who own property say it. It's a headache. I'd rather it be somebody else's headache. And for the same $90,000, if I wanted to rent the same condo in the same building, maybe it cost me $3,000 a month. Mm-hmm. But if I have $90,000, I could take $60,000 of that, go buy 2 buildings in Philadelphia, make $4,000 a month. So now my rent is free. My rent is free. I still have $30,000 left over. I
don't think a lot of people understand that. I don't think so. And then another thing too, I don't want to run this too long, but can somebody take a loan from the bank and invest in your company, like invest in real estate? Is that like another option that they can do as well?
Absolutely. I just had a meeting with a client last night, and one of the things we're going to do, it's called a 100% loan. It's a little risky, but I won't let you put yourself in a situation that I wouldn't necessarily want to be in. I mean, I will counsel you. That's what I do as a consultant. So 100% loan is a very simple premise. You borrow money from one place to get a down payment to get the loan on a second place. And essentially, you're financing 100% of your mortgage. It's a little risky, but if you have your numbers in order, you can do it. I've done 100% loans. I've done all kind of loans to, starting up and to get into different deals. And it's fine. It's just a matter of knowing what you really need. I think a lot of people, when they think about buying a house, the only number they consider is a deposit. Mm-hmm. But again, you need reserves, you need a deposit, you need closing costs, you have inspector fees, you have registration fees if you're a landlord. You might have repairs up front because no house is brand new. And I wouldn't buy a brand new house to invest in. That's just me personally. Really? But no, I would never buy anything brand new. Houses settle, things happen.
That's true.
You need a little bit of a track record. No, me personally, no. I promise you guys, if you see me in a new house and you'll see me, we got stuff going on in Hawaii, moving towards Cali. If I ever decide to show my home, when you see it, no, more than likely it's going to be rented. And that's something I'll say, because there's no honor in acting like I'm doing something that I'm not, because I feel like it's foolish. I would never buy $1,000 car and pay $100,000 cash. I would take $100,000, I would invest it and make, $10,000 a month, and then finance or lease a $5,000 a month vehicle. Why would I waste the money? Just ridiculous.
Of young people need to hear this because they don't know. They waste so much money. We waste so much money, especially our tax money. We waste so much money.
So you did good. You started investing with us. We're gonna make that trip to Philly happen.
Yes. So guys, if you don't know, we are going to be documenting this journey. We're gonna be doing a tour in Philly, so you guys don't want to miss that. Make sure you check out HAHOMES US. That's the YouTube page, right? And we're gonna be documenting the journey It's probably sometime next month. We're still working out the kinks, but make sure y'all follow us to keep up with what's going on. It's going to be a dope trip, and make sure you put your questions on this live, or you can send questions to me, send questions to H, and we will be answering it on the next episode. Thank you so much. Like I told y'all, this was so informal, and I hope y'all took notes and really took away something from this to really take a step towards y'all financial freedom and changing your life. Like we about to make it happen. 2019 is the year. I'm telling y'all.
Thank you for having me.
No
I look forward to talking to you soon. Another interview, taking a trip out to Philly. We'll go to Gino Steaks. That's a ritual. Shout out to Gino Steaks.
Is that like the Philly cheesesteak?
Yeah, you going to Philly.
I had a Philly cheesesteak in Philly.
You're gonna have one. You're gonna have one of the best ones.
I don't eat steak, but I think I'm gonna make an exception at one time.
We'll make it work. They have a vegetarian too. We laugh at those, but that's not. If you're a vegetarian, that's cool too.
Ooh,
so
okay, I can do that. I can do that.
All right. So we'll talk.
Right, thank you so much.
All right. Talk to you soon. Thank you for everybody for joining in. Talk to y'all soon. Goodbye.